You are the icing on my cake. You are the smile I can't replace. You are.
Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today is bake date day and we are going to be making a lemon and ginger cheesecake. Now this is a recipe that I found and I made a couple of times, and I sort of gradually just adjusted it a little bit to sort of my own version of it, slightly, just little changes. So I will put on my blog post, so when you finish watching this video, if you're on YouTube, click on the link below this video where it says show more. There's another bit under there, click on that show more. It opens up and it has a corresponding blog post link. It will take you across to the blog post. It will have some pictures, lots more than what I can show you on the video, and it will also have the recipe, etc. for you. So always worth having a look on that blog post. So as I say, we're going to be making a lemon cheesecake, and it is a really easy recipe and it's really tasty. So I hope you enjoy. So let's get baking. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is use a lemon jelly, which I know sounds crazy, but it's a non-bake cheesecake, so you don't need to bake this at all. So in order to get it set, we need some sort of gelatin, and why not have some flavour of our lemon by using a lemon jelly. So I have got 150 ml of cool water in a jug ready, so I want to pour on an approximation. It's not the end of the world, and that's the beauty of this recipe. It's pretty forgiving, so long as you don't like go crazy with the amount of water, you'll be fine. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water. So that's approximately what I would guess is 50 ml. The easiest thing to do is just pop it in the microwave for about 30 seconds to a minute, and it will melt that jelly off. So let me just go and do that. So there it is, all melted pretty much. So then what I want to do is I want to add some real lemon flavour to it, because it's good to add that. Now you can measure this out if you want. I'm just gonna judge it, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of lemon juice. It's probably about a tablespoon. Then to counter the sharpness of the lemon jelly as well and the lemon juice, because you want the lemon juice to get the nice flavour, but it's a little bit sharp. If you like it sharp, then great, leave it, but I'm going to add just a little bit of Castor Sugar. You want to add that sugar in while the water's hot before you add the cool water, because then that melts the sugar. As you can see, that's now melted pretty much. And now I've got the 150 ml of water in here to add to what we thought was about 50 ml of water. So that's 200 ml of water approximately. And then you want to do this bit first because you want to start this setting. So pop this into your fridge. Okay, so now we're going to make the base. So I've melted 150 grams of butter. Now this depends on how thick you want your base. So basically it's 50 grams of butter for every 100 grams of your biscuits. So I'm using ginger nuts because ginger nuts with lemon are just so nice. So what you want to do is kind of spread them out in a bag. You want to hold the end. I wouldn't recommend tying it or anything, because you want to allow the air to get out. You just don't want the biscuits to escape. And then you want to mash them. So it doesn't take very long, just a few minutes, but you want it down to sort of like breadcrumbs. So we've got my butter, and we're going to add in these crumbs. So just a little bit, because you want the butter to be coating all of it, so like so. So then we want to put our base in the tin. Now you can do this in a normal tin, like a normal cake tin, but I do recommend one of these spring-loaded side tins because it just makes it so much easier. I did try it in a normal tin with the base and you kind of just, it slides up, and it worked, it was fine. And then I'm gonna just grease around the sides very lightly with a little bit of butter. And then I've got one of those baking sheets. I mean, actually it's not going to get baked, but it's easy because it's pre-cut to the size of my tin, and you just pop that in. Okay, so now I'm just going to add my biscuit base. So just tip that all out and into my tin, and then spread it out. So as you can see, I'm just pushing this in, and what I'm doing is I'm just lightly, can you see how I'm just pushing the sides up very slightly? Now you can push them right up if you want. I don't like that, I like just a little lip. The reason I put a little lip here is that when you put your liquid in for your cheesecake, it just helps, I think, with any leakages at the side going down into that gap at the bottom there. Okay, so that's our base done. So we're just going to pop this in the fridge so that cools off and hardens off and becomes sort of set, inverted commas. Okay, so my jelly is setting up nicely now, so I want to just prep my cream. So I've got here 300 mils of whipping cream. So we're going to use, I'm just going to use this, it's much easier, and I'm whipping it in this jug because again it's easier. There it goes. Can you see how it's just beginning to become really thick? And, oh. Okay. Now we're going to need these again in a minute because we've got another batch of cream. This isn't exactly a dessert for dieters. So put that to one side. Okay, so our jelly is pretty good now. So now we want to put our Philadelphia into our bowl here. So this is your cream cheese basically. It doesn't have to be this brand. I just think this works quite well as a brand. It seems to come up quite well with it. Now you actually need 280 grams. Now you can, I think, get a large size tub that is pretty much that amount, if not exactly that amount. I couldn't actually get that the other day, and other times I couldn't either. Now you could just measure out and put in, because these are 180 grams each, so I could do one whole one and then 100 grams for the next one. It's not that important. I've said to you earlier, it's quite forgiving on the recipe, so I'm not going to worry too much about that extra 80 grams. Then I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix up with my whisk here, just to soften it down, like so. And then I'm going to gradually add in some of the jelly, or all of the jelly, and just keep mixing that up. And then you just want to cream that plaster in. Make sure it's nicely mixed. There we go. Now I've got 300 grams here of my whipped cream. There we go. And I'm just gonna run this through it just to be sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, so now you're just gonna taste it to see if you think it needs any more lemon. Take it from the middle so you make sure you get I think it does need a little bit more, so I'm just going to add some more lemon, probably about a tablespoon, and then I am going to add a little bit of castor sugar as well. Again, probably a tablespoon, and then mix it up. And the sugar's just going to counter any sharpness. Again, that's personal preference, so try it. Yep, I think that's perfect. And to a certain extent, the lemon flavour is actually added by your lemon juice. Now, I've used one of these sort of lemon juice concentrates, but you can use a real lemon and squeeze the lemon juice and add some lemon rind if you want to your mix, and that will add a nice flavour. So we've now made our mixture here for our actual cream cheesecake. So now we need to get our base. So this has been sitting in the fridge. So let's just pour in, and we've just got to hope at this point it's not going to leak. But it shouldn't do because we've pulled that biscuit base up at the sides, and you know the tins are designed to take cake mix, so it's kind of the thickness of a cake mix really. So now we've poured that in. It's a nice deep cheesecake, and we're gonna now pop this in the fridge and let it set. It's going to take a good couple of hours. Quite often if I make it sort of early, late morning, it will be set enough for us to eat in the evening. However, so it's like 3 or 4 hours, but it's still quite soft. Obviously we don't eat a whole one in a sitting, so then by the time we come to it the next day, you can see how it's really set. And it's a lot more firm than it is when I originally cut it. So personally, I think if you really want to have it a really firm set cheesecake, then I would leave it overnight. So then I'm going to take my bowl, my jug again, because what I like to do is, just in case there wasn't enough calories in this already, is take another amount of whipping cream. So then I'm going to take this, we're going to whip it up. Okay, so that's the cream whipped up. I'm going to pop that in the fridge with my cheesecake and then wait for my cheesecake to set, and then we will do the next part. Okay, it actually isn't the next morning. It's about 3 a bit hours later, and it's pretty well set. Certainly I know it will set more by the morning, but since it's kind of heading towards after dinner time and it's set enough for me to think we can cut it, it's probably going to be a little bit softer than, you know, getting a like perfect slice. It'll probably sort of smudge out a little bit, but if you're worried about that, then give it overnight. If you're not, then enjoy. So all I'm going to do now before I take it out of my tin here is put the cream on the top now, okay, and then just lightly spread the cream. Now you could pipe this on and be all fancy if it was for a dinner party, but this is just a home family thing. It's not for anything special other than to enjoy. And then just for a bit of fun, I use some of these little sprinkles just to add a bit of colour. There we go. So you can see there. So then what we want to do is I'm going to stand it. I've got a big flat dish, because carefully unclip it, because if it's going to go, now is the time to find out. There we go. Pop that to one side. Now obviously at the moment it's still got the metal base on it. But let me just see if I can turn this, because it's not, if you can see, there you go. It's a bit difficult to turn too much because I'm worried it's going to go splodging on the floor. So I'll take some pictures anyway so you can see it a little bit better angle. And there it goes. And then when I've cut into it a couple of times, I'll fiddle around. I've got my tray off here, but I'll leave the little parchment piece underneath. Just be careful when you cut through, not to cut through it if you've got one of the ones that I've got where it's one you're going to use again. Okay, so I think it's time to cut into this. Pop this out. And there is our beautiful cheesecake. And you can see it's just a little bit wobbly still. If we'd left it overnight, that wouldn't move. That would be nice and solid, completely solid. But you can see at this point, it's still perfectly fine to eat. It's going to be really enjoyable. Okay, so I just wanted to do a quick addition. As you can see, we've had a bit of a munch and it's the next day, and I just wanted to show you how much more set this is when you see it. And it's had an overnight set, so you can see already it's much more solid. And then when we cut through it, you can see how there's no blobbing at all. You know, it's not sagging at the sides. It's completely solid now. Well, not like solid as in a rock, but you know, it's completely set. And you can see it's just really nicely done now. So I just wanted to show you just how nice it, or how much more it does set up when you give it overnight, but also to show you that you can perfectly, you know, if it's not a dinner party or something posh, then there's nothing wrong with, you know, it's not going to fall apart if you do it after a couple of hours. But by the next day, you've definitely got a much better set piece here. So I thought I'd just share that with you. So I hope you've enjoyed making this cheesecake with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time for bake day. Bye for now. Bye.
Icing on my cake, you are the smile I can't replace. You are the way you smile, the way you laugh, the way I can't help but catch your joy, your joy. Metaphorically, this song just says one thing: I love you. That's what I'm telling you. Oh, and there's no irony because I see what I mean. I love you. I love you. You are the minutes of my time.